morning, guys, and welcome to today's video. Nothing like cold start in the mornings. Happy New Year, everyone. Finally popped in a Optima red top battery in here. The old one was pretty much shot, and definitely starting up pretty clean now. So let's go ahead and get into today's video. Behind me is my 2007 GT500, and what we're going to talk about today is a feature called the WOT Box. The particular one I'm talking about is called the N2NB WOT Box. Now, if you're not familiar, WOT stands for wide open throttle, and a box is just because in the shape of a box. Let me show you what it looks like real quick. So I have mine located right in the dash right here, and as you can see, that's all it is. Very simple. So what it does is it relieves all the tension in the drivetrain by disrupting the spark. And the way that happens is when I push down on the gas, if you push down all the way to the floor, you're obviously going WOT at that point. And then I have mine set to pretty much sense when the clutch pedal's down. There's a clutch safety switch, and it ties into that. The safety switch is so that the car knows when the clutch is engaged and whether it'll allow you to start or not, things like that. And pretty much anytime it senses that the clutch is down, with your foot all the way to the floor, it'll cut out spark. And that pretty much lets you shift into the next gear without having any kind of lockout or anything like that, which is the biggest reason I think people go with these things. And kind of my biggest reason for having it. This came pre-installed in this car by a previous owner, and to be honest, for the longest time I was scared to use it. I did not understand how it worked, and to be honest, it's kind of nerve-wracking because you can only really test it at wide open throttle. And what happens when you're at wide open throttle and you just hit the clutch without lifting your foot? We're gonna go straight to red line. It's gonna hang out there. And this car, it's getting a little sketchy if that happens. So let me go ahead and run down of pretty much why you would want to use this thing and what its benefits are. So the biggest benefit is what I just went over, and that would be the no lift shift. However, a follow-up benefit, it also gives you launch control. So you can hop into the interface, you can set your launch RPM, and it takes all the guesswork out of driving a manual down the drag strip. So one of the hardest issues, or one of the biggest issues with taking a manual to a drag strip or trying to launch from a dig in general, is trying to get a consistent RPM and launch, basically a consistent launch RPM, because you're sitting there trying to feather the gas to get the RPM to where you want it. And then when you take your foot off the clutch, the RPM is going to dip. You got to give it more gas and try to slip it and keep the RPM steady the whole time. As you can tell, it's kind of a mouthful to explain because it's a mouthful to do, and you're trying to do all this right off the line to get a good launch. So the biggest thing that I think the WOT Box brings to the table is consistency. You're able to consistently launch the car. All you have to do is put your foot to the floor and then clutch in all the way. Well, not in that order. Clutch in all the way, foot to the floor, it engages the WOT Box and will do launch RPM. Once that happens, you just release the clutch at the intended time and you're off. You're gonna go. If you have a proper tire, i.e. a drag slick, you do not want a radial, you want a bias ply. It'll take it'll take the brunt of the force right there and absorb some of it and let you launch off the line. Pretty dang consistent every time. I've had less than, I think I've had just about 10 passes with this car, and my launches is pretty consistent. I'm able to stick it with a 1.660 foot pretty consistently. As long as I don't lose traction, I'm still dialing some other stuff in. But that, in my opinion, is the biggest benefit. The very next benefit, as I was talking about earlier, is the no lift shift feature. Being able to shift basically without worry about getting locked out of second or third or fourth at any point in time is awesome. Shifting without the WOT Box, I've had mixed luck on this. I'm going to show you a clip right here at the drag strip, and what happened was I was trying to drive, it spun off the line, so I didn't quite go full in wide open throttle mode. Basically, I didn't quite pin my foot all the way to the floor in first gear, went to shift into second gear, got locked out, made a huge mess, looked terrible pass. And that is as opposed to running with the WOT Box. You can see it just 1-2s are flawless, no problems whatsoever. If just so you're aware, a couple other upgrades I have: solid clutch line, RXT clutch, Barton short throw. Not the best short throw out there, but it's still better than stock in my opinion, and it gets the job done. So if you want to look cool at the drag strip with the laptop out and adjust some settings, you can definitely do that. I've done it a couple times. I'll show you a clip or two quick. So we've got RPMs at 3,500, so we're going to drop that down to 3,000. I had it at 27 before, and I think that's just too much. And it's actually a pretty straightforward process. So there are two ways to enable no lift shifting with this. And the first one is what I use, and that's automatic mode. And that pretty much, as soon as your clutch goes down, it'll disengage spark as long as you're wide open throttle. You keep your foot matted to the floor, and then you pop it into the next gear. You release the clutch, and as soon as the clutch gets fully released, it'll re-engage and you're good to go. You're back in power again. And as you practice it this way, this is my personal favorite way to do it, because the other way uses a timer. As soon as it senses the clutch is down, it has a little internal timer that goes off, and you can set that threshold for however many milliseconds you want. I set it to 500 the first time I tried it. It's basically half a second, way too slow. But trying to find that sweet spot can get a little sketchy in my opinion, because once you go down, what happens if you do happen to hit lockout, or you don't get it in gear fully engaged all the way before power comes back on? I mean, your gears might not mesh properly, you can damage stuff. So I don't like that second mode, and I use the automatic mode on it, and it seems to work for me. So that's pretty much going to do it for today's video, guys. I just wanted to go over the WOT Box. I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions about it. People don't understand how it works, or kind of just shove it to the wayside. A lot of people will post up, hey, I can't shift into 1.2, or I'm having lockout issues. And in my opinion, this is the most cost-effective and easiest way to fix that. You pop the WOT Box in there, and you're able to pretty much shift smoothly because it's relieving all that tension on the drivetrain, and it's not giving you any problems. I have lockout on this car if I don't use it, and when I do use it, it's not there. It works. It's a very simple solution. It's about 300 bucks, I believe. Could be wrong on that. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. Now, mind you, this won't fix broken parts. If your 1.2 synchros are completely shot, or your transmission's messed up, or your clutch is going out, this isn't gonna fix anything, right? You have to make sure you have a solid base to put this on top of. However, between being able to launch the car off the line consistently and being able to no lift shift the rest of the way down the track or on the street, as I've used it, as you can see here, I mean, I think it's a pretty solid investment in my opinion. So all in all, 5 stars out of 5 for the N2NB WOT Box. I love it. I have no experience with any other WOT boxes, so please don't ask me to compare them. I don't know. Never tried it. I know MSD makes one. I think there's a couple other ones out there, but I don't know what they are. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.